Welcome back, GAWSY readers, to our third episode of the GAWSY Podcast. And today we'll be discussing dating and relationships with, your significant other and in friendships. My name is Anaya Reed, and I'm GAWSY's editorial consultant, and I'm joined with.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brielle Gines. I'm the CEO of GAWSY Magazine.
So yeah, this is a very broad topic. I feel like we can talk about it more in future episodes. So if you would like to see that, don't forget to, comment down on one of our Instagram posts, and you can send us questions, or you can also send us a DM on Instagram or any of our social media sites. So I guess we can go ahead and we can start off with the first question. So I guess the first question could just be like, have you ever been in a romantic, intimate relationship with like boy or girl, whoever?
First question, I have not been. I have been single, I want to say for my 21 years of life. So I have never been in a relationship intimately.
Mhm. Well, you're not alone because I haven't either. I'm not gonna just right to find the first person that's like I like you type. Like I don't know. I was never the type of person like in high school to do that. And me and Bria, we went to the same high school, and she can definitely attest to the fact that the boys there were just not it.
At
And
all.
I was not about to just no. I just not doing that.
I guess, and I second that. And I agree too, I feel like with dating and just more to your point, I feel like it should be, or in my life it's been, yeah, kind of seeing it out and making sure that someone is in the same position that you are to date and kind of thoroughly ensuring that this is what you want to do and this is who you want to be with. There's like a little bit more um, detail or attention to detail or just thoroughness of approaching
Mhm.
relationships and dating. So yeah, I definitely share the same sentiment in that regard.
Right. Um, so my question is like, I don't know if you're searching for like that a relationship like that, but if you are, or in the future if you are, like how do you envision yourself setting boundaries in those intimate relationships?
Setting boundaries in intimate relationships, the first thing that comes to my mind is making sure that both of us are healthily communicating what we want in the beginning of the relationship. As we continue to grow and change, what I have observed through other people's relationships, just a lot of talking about goals and desires and wants at the forefront of the relationship, and kind of just periodically checking in just throughout to see if anything has changed and to make
Hmm.
sure that you and your partner are on the same kind of wavelength about
Right.
what you want and what you're heading towards. So
Right.
healthily communicating in the beginning is a big thing of mine, and um, yeah, just making sure that at the end of the day, for me, what I'm like ultimately looking for is marriage, like dating to marry someone.
Right.
Yeah, marriage is kind of like a big thing for me, and I desire to be married. So making sure that the person that I am with
Hmm.
wants to get married.
Exactly. I think dating to marry is like what everybody should be doing, but a lot of people just don't do that. Like I've seen some people date to just like get experience with dating to find like their long lasting partner. I'm just like, you never know if that person could have been your long lasting partner, but you just dated them for a short term just to get experience on it, which is just very odd to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say something else and I literally forgot. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. So what you said about communicating early, that is literally the most. It's so important. I've learned that just being in college. Like if you don't address what you want at the forefront before you guys even like start like meeting up and stuff like that, it's like you might lose time and waste time on something that you could have been spent talking to somebody else with. And like that's one of my biggest pet peeves is like wasting time on just like someone or anything when I could have been doing something else with better with my time rather than wasting it. So yeah, definitely healthily communicating, and both of you expressing your interest and not only each other but like what you want out of the relationship, and things like that is just very important.
Yes, and I agree because if you don't start, I guess, with that healthy sense of communication, you're kind of just going to be guessing and checking throughout the relationship,
Hmm.
which I don't think is a healthy kind of distinguisher of what both of you guys want. But when you talk about it at the beginning, it'll just, like you said, it'll just save you so much time and many headaches too.
Right.
Um, just through preparation.
Yeah. Something I also just thought of was like, I don't know. I think there's like a lot of questions that you want to ask in the beginning of the relationship, but you don't want to like intrude on like their business because like after 2 weeks of like talking to somebody, like going on dates, it's like, should I ask this now or should I wait? Because it's like you don't want to intrude on like their personal business and stuff like that. But it's also like a question that, like, a need to know type of question, um, that you feel like is important for, I guess, like whatever values you may carry. Like, I'm trying to think of a question. Like, do you want kids in the future? Like, you don't want to, like, I feel like there's a time frame, not a time frame, but like a certain way you should ask that in like a certain like time and place you should ask those kind of questions. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but there's
Yeah,
just
that makes sense.
yeah, there's just certain questions that are just need to know questions, need to know answers, because like
Yes.
I said, if you don't ask those early on, you might end up wasting your time.
Wasted it. And it's like, yeah, save yourself the time and the headaches by just starting early, communicating early.
Hmm. I also want to follow up with that, like searching for someone. Like, do you believe in soulmates or love at first sight, just like in the movies, or you think that's like just like a theory?
That is a really good question. Do I believe in soulmates? I believe in soulmates in the idea that friends can be soulmates, and then there can be a lover that can be a soulmate too. I don't think that it can be solely just mutually exclusive, but many people can be your soulmate or people that you were supposed to align with
Hmm.
um, before like your beginning and through like your journey. Um, I am a Christian, so I do believe like in some kind of like regard that well it says or it talks about in the Bible that your husband like finds you, and as like women in our role, like our man our husband, they find us specifically. I don't know, I guess if I can say that it's like a soulmate per
Hmm.
se, but it makes it a little bit more succinct in the fact that like a man is coming to find you,
Right.
his wife, which the Bible regards as a good thing. So but yes, for soulmates, I do believe that soulmates can be in friends and they can be also too potentially in intimate relationships as well too.
Hmm. What about love at first sight? Do you believe in that?
Love at first sight. I don't know. I feel like you can like maybe be like enthralled maybe at
Hmm.
first sight. Love at first sight. I don't know. I got to
Yeah.
think about that a little bit more.
I think the soulmate thing, I believe that more over love at first sight, just because like when I think of like the word soulmate, I think of like someone where like I never want to like not be around. Um,
Yeah.
and love at first sight, I just don't. That don't even make any sense. Like, you're telling me you looked at somebody and fell in love because of what? Like, you haven't even met them, so it's like you really just. To me, it feels like you just fell in love with their beauty rather than their personality because you haven't met them. You
Yeah, that's
don't
what I
know,
was thinking.
right? You don't know how they are, how they act. Like they could be beautiful on the outside and be the worst person you've ever met. So it's like,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's kind of wishy washy, but
No, I agree.
okay. So we were talking about boundaries earlier. So how do you set boundaries in your friendships? Last episode we talked about how we set boundaries like within like our family and career settings. So we're gonna kind of shift it over to how we set boundaries in among our friends.
Setting boundaries with friends. It's kind of like as I'm like thinking right now, people don't always know like what you're thinking or what you have been through. And so I think communicating that when something maybe rises to the surface within yourself and
Hmm.
communicating that with your friends is a good thing to do because and it'll just save like heartache or potential heartache and lessen like resentment I feel like within friends because people they can kind of start to learn how you are and it not be kind of this walking around the eggshells kind of thing with your friends. Communicating boundaries um, is something I believe everybody should practice just depending like on your situation. But boundaries can be a very good thing, and the bright people that you surround yourself with and friends that you surround yourself with should be able to understand that regard as well too. And they might also have boundaries that you have to respect as well too. So as long as there's like a mutual likeness of boundaries between friends and a mutual respect for it, then I believe that it can be well within your friend groups and friendships.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I agree with that a lot. Like with my friend group, like back at school in Lincoln, Nebraska, the way I set boundaries is kind of like when it happens, because I don't know, I feel kind of awkward, like just saying like I don't like this. Like I feel like it's better like when it happens, so then they know like exactly what they're doing is what I don't want them to do. So like for instance, like I don't like being physically touched. So like I don't like hugs unless I initiate the hug. When other people
Mm-hmm.
initiate the hug, I'm like I get really uncomfortable. I'm like I do not want to hug you right now because I just. But it just makes me feel better if I initiate it because I know that they want to hug me in that moment, but like I just can't receive a hug, but I can give hugs. So that's just
Mm-hmm.
like kind of how I set my boundaries, just like when it happens, so that they can pick up on it. But um, yeah. Do you prefer small or big friend groups? We did touch on this last episode, but just kind of just want to reiterate it.
I prefer smaller and more quality friendships than big friend groups because of the quality. I'm okay to have 1 to 3 very close and quality friends versus a big group of people that I might not even know or talk to at all or get to know on that
Mm-hmm.
level. I just feel like with smaller ones, we're able to connect in a way that is a camaraderie for a lot of beautiful things that unfold as we continue to evolve. And what I find, I guess a little hard with big friend groups is that I think sometimes they can be clicky in a way in which certain people might go with these certain people or other people might go with all these certain people. Like it's kind of, it can, and that's not to say that it's all of like that and like all big friend groups, but I think I just prefer smaller friend groups for just what the value and the quality is in it and not having to, I guess, kind of go all around in a bigger friend group, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like, just quality friends, a quality like 2 to 5 friends is just so much better than like having to spread your attention to like 15 different other people in a big friend group. And I see those all the time, like on TikTok and stuff, like those content creator houses,
Mm-hmm.
like that hype house that was like very popular like a long time ago. I was like, I don't know how you guys are doing that. Like, that's too much. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just too many people you have to kind of like cater towards because like if you don't keep
Yeah.
up this friendship with this person, then your friendship with this other person is going to drop, and it's like you got to like balance out too many different energies with too many different people. Like I just it's too much work, too much
Too
effort.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, just having quality 2 to 3 friends. Like I have a small friend group. It's like 5 people. Like that's really all I need, and that's and it's honestly easier to just like plan trips and stuff. It's easier to like go in our friend group and like talk about whatever problems we're having. And also just so like if you're a private person, it's just easier to talk to two or three people about private information and get like their advice on it rather than like 10, 15 different people as well. I was also thinking about this earlier, like when I get out of college and I don't know where I'm gonna like live and like where I'm gonna work for right now, but I was thinking of like how am I gonna make friends because all my friends are either in Nebraska, or Missouri. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, am I like what is like I don't know. Like I'm not an extremely social person. Like I'm not gonna because like usually I see a lot of people that like graduate college, they end up moving in with their friends, stuff like that. I don't have many friends that go to college or go to the college that I go to unless they're in Nebraska. And a lot of my friends are that go to school in Nebraska live in different states. So it's kind of like I don't know because a lot of them are probably gonna like stay in Nebraska after college. But my idea is to move to like Overland Park or somewhere like that,
Mm-hmm.
so I could be close to my sister and like work and stuff like that. So I don't know. I was thinking of like how am I gonna make friends out of college in a bigger area by myself.
And I feel that I was thinking about that as well very recently because as like you're saying, like I'm in school in Texas
Hmm.
and a lot of the good friends that I have made have been there. And
Right.
then with being home like back in Missouri too and moving to Florida, like after I graduate and leave, I'm gonna come back home to Florida. So I'm like I share like the same regard of like, like how am I
Right.
gonna make friends like post college? But I'm like, I what will happen, and I don't know, but I understand that so much. I was actually thinking about that recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous. I was like, I'm about to start doing like go to like skill classes or something and just be like, "Hi, my name is." I don't even know. That's like the only way I think I'd be able to make friends. Either that or like making friends at work and then meeting their friends and then making whatever the case may be. But I don't know. Me personally, I don't really want to make new friends. I have enough friends.
And
I
I
don't
be
need.
feeling that too. Like sometimes I'm just like I'm good. Like I'm good.
Right.
Like I'm good. I be feeling like that too.
Hmm. Like I'll make more friends on campus and like playing soccer and stuff. But it's like once I graduate, I feel like I don't need any more friends. Like, although I'll be far away from my friends, it's just like I could just call them if I need to be social. Like, I don't need like more friends, but I don't know.
I feel that, and then sometimes like when we change, we evolve too. Maybe we'll get to a point where like, okay, maybe we can meet some new people and be social. It just all kind of just depends.
Hmm. Right. So how do you define love in intimate relationships, or how would you define it? Like, how do you visualize it?
I envision love. I just talked about this in like a separate account that I have where I kind of like process my emotions through way of words. And I believe that God is love. And whenever two people are chasing after God and understanding how He is love, then they're able to kind of reciprocate and give the same love to friends and then also to intimate relationships as well too. There's more of like a spiritual kind of means of love versus how the world kind of sees it, which I've been learning a little bit more just as the days have been going on. But I believe that love is a very God ordained thing that He talks about in His Word. And if people learn and exemplify that, then I find that it may be easier to accept it one in yourself and then to give it to others too, especially in intimate relationships.
Absolutely. Now I'm on a different wavelength with you with religion. I'm more of like spiritual, so I don't really
Mhm.
follow like a religion, but um with me, how I define love is just most of it to me is just respect. To just have a respect for me,
Mhm.
because like I said earlier, like I'm really heavy on communication. Like I'm literally a communication studies major, so it's like it wouldn't make sense if I wasn't heavy on communication. And on top of that, I love talking, so it's like I'm not gonna not tell you something that's not bothering me. So my big thing with defining love is just having mutual respect for each other, being able to communicate healthily. I don't like when people like if you're going through something like mentally, like just say that in that moment and then come back when you're ready. Like don't like ignore me or like push me away because I don't know what's going on with you. Like I can't read. I can read body language, but it's like I don't still don't know what's wrong with you. I just know you're mad or upset
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's my big thing. That's probably the one thing I would say I would be scared about a relationship is being ignored because I can't do that. I would say being ignored or being yelled at are my two like biggest fears. Like cheating, I mean, okay, I mean that's not gonna hurt me as much as you ignoring me, me personally, because like I'll just block you after that. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're not cheating on me and you just ignore me, that hurts me more than you actually cheating on me. I don't know why. I just feel like it would. I've never been in a relationship, but I just feel like that just would hurt me more than I don't know. Yeah,
No, that makes sense because it's like, why don't you want to talk and communicate with me? Vulnerability is something that I think of when I think of that. Like, you gotta be vulnerable in relationships, friendship, and importantly, intimate relationships too. Like, And I think that's something a lot of people struggle with being vulnerable, because maybe
Hmm.
sometime growing up or something like just along the lines of your development in all facets of health, something was maybe not shown to you to be vulnerable, or maybe you weren't allowed or offered the space. So I think that's just
Right.
something that like everybody should learn with relationships, to be vulnerable. It can be scary and intimidating, especially if you've not been introduced to it before, but it can save you and offer you the space to open up in a way that you maybe not have been before. And I think it could ties into like that respect factor that you're saying. Like, it vulnerability can perpetuate respect when you are opening and not shutting out or ignoring your significant other or your partner.
Absolutely. Brie, are you scared of anything like happening in the relationship? Like, what are you like most, I guess, like in fear of happening?
And fear relationships. I think one thing I fear is, I thought about this kind of recently. Like, this scares me. Like, if like I know we're all gonna pass away someday, but like if my like significant like other were to like pass away like very soon after we like got together, like I feel like it'd just be so I'd be so devastated. I'd be like, ah, that is something I just thought about recently too. Like to be in love and to know love, and then
Hmm.
they pass on and like so soon. It's like that makes me nervous, a little anxious, and a little
Yeah,
fearful.
right. And I've seen like a bunch of TikToks of like husbands or wives passing away and then leaving behind like a whole family, and it's like, imagine being like a mother or father and you have like five or three kids and like your significant other passes
Mm-hmm.
away. Like, I don't know how you even recover from that. Like how do you even juggle that? Because then you still have to provide for your family.
Yeah, as well as grieve too. Like,
Exactly. And then like your kids are like watching you, and it's like, I don't know. That's just, yeah, that's insane. I don't know. I
yes,
wouldn't be strong enough for that. I'd have to like go do it like a retreat or something. I don't know.
something. Whew.
Well, speaking of, do you think it's possible to lose your identity in relationships?
Yes, I definitely think so. And I've seen it before too, just like with social media, and yeah, just like how like the world, like I think sometimes when people become too enthralled with the relationship, or they idolize their partner, I think
Hmm.
they're kind of trying, it's less relationship, more of kind of like a unhealthy dynamic of someone wanting to cater or to please this person to, I guess, kind of find themselves in a way.
Yeah.
But and I don't think that that's necessarily healthy, because like your identity can't be your partner's, nor like should that be the dynamic of your relationship either, because now you're just kind of catering to what they like and what they want, and you're losing yourself all the while like doing it. And so
Right.
like that's just not, I don't believe that that's healthy, and it's definitely been done before.
Hmm. And a lot of the times when you give up your identity, it happens slowly, so you don't even know what's really happening.
That's
And
true.
right, and a lot of times, like you said, like your significant other could be abusive, like mentally, emotionally, verbally, whatever the case may be. And so as this is happening, you like start, overly catering towards them, and so you forget yourself and your loved ones, and you become isolated
Hmm.
mentally and emotionally. Um, and I've heard a lot that like your loved ones are the first to notice any changes, rather than yourself, and they are like the most prominent to indicate loss of individualism, especially in relationships. I think that's very hard to battle too, like your identity with, your significant other, because it's like, I don't know, especially with like first relationships. Like, if this is your first relationship and this isn't their first relationship, you might be more attached to them just because it is your first relationship, and depending on like how much you like them and stuff, I just feel like you'll have a higher attachment to them than they will of you. I don't know. I just feel like that. Yeah. And then like, your attachment style could play a key role in how much identity you sacrifice in your relationship. So I feel like you shouldn't sacrifice your identity for anybody in a relationship, because
Hmm.
during the talking stage, you should be talking about that. Like,
Yeah.
I be seeing a lot of like celebrities, like, especially like, I'm gonna use an example, like celebrity basketball players, they get with these like OnlyFans models or Instagram models, and then they don't like how they're operating online. But it's like, you knew she was a OnlyFans model, Instagram model. Like, what are we talking about? You know, her audience is probably young adult males looking at her. Like, let's be honest. So like,
Hmm.
you knew what you were getting into before you even got into it. So what do you, like? Why are you mad?
That's real. That's so true. And like touching on to your point of like individualism, I believe that everybody should take some time. And not to say that you're going to have yourself 100% figured out, but your individualism is what sets you apart from every single person on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And people need to like tap into what and who they are and who they would like to be. And really ask yourself some very self aware or self reflecting questions before you get into an intimate relationship, too. Because, like, you're taking on a different role with being like a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a partner, a wife, a husband. And that's going to like require some things of you, but also you have yourself and your identity too that's like not necessarily separate, but it's still who you are. Like, so yeah, like your individualism, take some time to reflect on who you are, what you want, and then know that you don't have to, I guess, shape your identity after a friend or an intimate relationship because you still got to be you at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah, just don't sacrifice who you are in a relationship. I mean, if part of your identity is negative, maybe you should encourage yourself to change that part of yourself if it's affecting your
Hmm.
relationships. But if it's something positive, like, you shouldn't be sacrificing anything positive about yourself or anything that you like or love about yourself for anybody. And that includes friendships as well. Like, yeah.
100%.
So another question we have is it okay to be friends with your ex while in a new relationship? This was
Ooh.
just a very hot topic question that I saw other podcasts do, and I was like, I definitely want to answer this because I know my answer.
There you go. Share your answer first, and then I'll like come in with mine.
Listen, anybody I've ever talked to is blocked, okay? And for certain reasons, okay? Because I don't want to be in contact with you ever again. That's why you're on the block list and you never get off the block list. That's the whole point of blocking. You get where I'm going with this? I don't understand people that take people off the block list. Like, you block them for a reason, so just keep them blocked. I me personally, I just can't be friends with somebody who's friends with their ex. Because if I'm not friends with any of my exes, why would I expect you to be friends with yours? Like, because depending on how long that relationship was, like if it was 3 years, 6 months, 2 months, like they all have different levels of like, I don't even know, like affection, I guess, that both of them have been through. Especially if you're like with your ex for like 6 years and you broke up. You're telling me you don't still love your ex after? Nah, you can't tell me that. Like, and then you're gonna be
Hmm.
still friends with them. Getting a relationship with me is just not. I just can't do that because I just know. I just don't trust that. I don't know. I just can't. Like, you can have um friends that are women, but I just cannot be with you if you're going to be friends with your ex, because that's the whole point of having an ex. Like, they're in the past, why are they still in the present? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, you can be cordial with your ex, but being friends with them, I just can't, because if I'm not going to be friends with my exes, I just don't want somebody who's friends with their exes as well. So
And I definitely see that. I think like how I feel like about it, I think it should just kind of be like a relationship courtesy and respect to kind of like how you said you can be cordial with your ex, but to
mm-hmm,
be friends, I feel like is kind of a different story because you and your ex, I guess like this is how I'm just kind of like seeing it. You and your ex were intimate in a way where however like long the duration was of the relationship. So like you guys were intimate with one another and like know things. But
mm-hmm,
now that you're in a new relationship, I feel like out of respect, you should kind of, you know, develop the relationship that you currently have without having to go back. And there's
right,
nothing wrong with being cordial and friendly, but to be friends, I think I would say just kind of proceed with caution because it can kind of start to fumble on the lines of respect, depending on the ex, who they were, how long you guys were together, what like how the mode of communication between you guys, how frequently you guys communicating. Like, I say, just kind of be careful because it can really kind of just, as in, like I said, like tumble like on the lines of respect and disrespect in the relationship.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. You did say something earlier I was going to comment on, and I literally just forgot. My mind is everywhere today. I can't, like, I have what you said in my head, and then I go to say it, and then it immediately just vanishes. Like, I have, it's probably 'cause I be
It'll
working
come
out too
back.
much. um, I also seen something recently on TikTok, where it's like, um, what is it called? Like, people are like, well, it wasn't like on TikTok, but I guess just in general, like, people be like together for a certain amount of time. Like, for example, like Blueface and Krishan, like they have each other tattooed on each other. It's like, bro, what? Like,
Mm-hmm.
would you be with somebody who had like their ex's name tattooed on them or like their face or something like that?
I just like I don't know. Like, I'm like very kind of iffy about like getting tattoos of names and significant others and even family members like on the body. I just feel like I don't. I I don't know. I just feel like it's a little weird to like date somebody and then like their ex is like
Right.
tattooed or their face is like on them. Like, it's just a little weird, you know.
No.
Like,
Like, honestly, I ain't gonna lie, that's disgusting. Because why do you still have that? Get that covered up. Like, and you shouldn't even be tattooing nobody's name. Like, she was clearly she wasn't that all that because y'all not together. So what are you getting her name tattooed for?
mm-mm. Like,
Mm-mm. Um, have you spoken with your friends about self love, and are they aware of the topic, especially in like relationships?
I've spoken to my friends about self love with having Ghazi, and just being able to kind of just share and talk with friends. I believe my friends, they know about self love and practice it within like their life, which is nice because we're all kind of going on like this journey of just discovering who we are, what we like, what we don't like, how self love plays an integral role in it. So yes, I can say like all of my friends do have an idea and an understanding of what self love is and how it's pertinent within their life.
Yeah, me as well. My friends know that if they come to me with any problem, the first thing I'm going to tell them is to protect their peace because that's what
Yeah.
I do. Anytime I come with any conflict, the first thing I'm looking at is how can I protect my peace in this situation because I'm not going to sacrifice my well being for whatever I got going on. Like, I'm going to find a solution because I'm not about to just like be suffering in silence. Like, I don't like doing that. It's not going to be good for my mental health in the long run. So I'm just going to either remove myself from the situation or find a way to where I could also like protect my peace in like the same route. Um, yeah, me and my friends, we have our group chat. We always talk about like self love and relationships all the time. And they always come to the group chat with their fair share of problems and stuff like that. So that's the first thing I always tell them. You know, some of my friends are a little more attached to their, situationships than others. But, I always try to speak life into them and try to guide
Hmm.
them in the right way. Sometimes they don't listen, but listen, that's okay. But don't come to me crying because I just told you. I just gave you that advice I would give anybody else. So if you don't listen to me, that's not my fault. But, I'll still comfort them kind of. Not really. I do, but I don't. My comfortness is more of like, I told you so. So, but yeah, they're very much aware, and I have shared, Gauzy with them, um, and they like the concept and stuff. So, yeah, I think self love is more of just like I said, like we said earlier, like it's your own self love journey. I encourage them to go on their own self love journeys. A lot of them are kind of like in that route currently, where they're going through their self love journey slowly but surely, but they're getting there and they're doing like different like hobbies, like going to the park and reading, doing like picnics, trying out like new hairstyles, just different stuff like that. So while they're still like in Nebraska and doing the college life, so
I like that. The best person you can spend time with is yourself because it's not wasted time.
hmm
Important. It's just such an important thing for people to do. I was even like, I think sharing with somebody at some point. Like being a friend to yourself kind of helps to cure the idea of loneliness. When you're a friend to yourself and actively taking the time to understand who you are, what you want, spending time with yourself, you're never really lonely or feel alone because you're friends and you acknowledge your existence and your being. And you kind of start to nurture yourself after sometimes we can put ourselves on the shelf or we can kind of do away with who we are for just other things and overcommitting to other people. But when you become a friend to yourself, there's an article out there too. I might have to link it when this episode comes out. But yeah, like spend some time being a friend with yourself, and it just makes a world of a difference in how you see and view your space, especially when you are alone or just not around with anyone.
Absolutely. So I have a cliche last question for both of us. So, what would be like your ideal first date? Or
Oh,
if you've already
such a
been
good
on one,
question.
then what like happened?
That is such a good question. So, oh my gosh, my very first ideal first date. I used to really like the fast food place or restaurant. I don't know. It's kind of in between. I used to like the place Five Guys. So I was like, oh, for my first date, I would like to go to Five Guys on a rainy day because I like rainy days. They're like nice and kind of tranquil.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of changed a little bit now. So I think my ideal first date, I would like for it to be a little communication heavy. So
Right.
something that we're not kind of both distracted doing. So like for a first date, I wouldn't go to the movies because we wouldn't be able to kind of have some time to talk. But maybe like a nice coffee shop or someplace where we can kind of just both sit down with like some light finger food and kind of just converse and chat to get to know one another. Maybe even a walk in
Mm-hmm.
nature for a first date, but something kind of just tranquil and communication heavy so we can kind of get a good sense of who we are.
Mm-hmm. Mine's kind of opposite. I like to have fun. So like, I would, and I don't like restaurants. I really don't. The overpriced food is not it. Why is the Alfredo $18? Like, I can find better
Uh-uh.
Alfredo at Cheesecake Factory. Let's be honest, okay? My ideal first date would definitely be going to Raising Cane's. Okay, listen, I know the chicken is unseasoned, but I don't care because that sauce is gonna hit every time.
Yes, I love the
Okay,
cane sauce.
and I worked at Cane's before, so I have to rep Cane's. I just have to every time I get out. But I definitely go to Cane's. I definitely want like a communication heavy date as well. So I don't know, maybe like sitting down in Cane's and talk. Well, I don't even know because you're gonna be eating half the time. But I guess after we're done eating, we can talk, so that'd be fun. um, I would say maybe like the arcade. Like I would want to do
Ooh,
like a bunch of stuff in like a day, like cause like I don't know, gotta get my money's worth. I wouldn't want to go to like two spots. I would want to go to like four, like arcade, Canes, the movies. Like I just want to go because I want to see like how you interact in different environments and like how you interact
mm.
with people, like strangers. Like, are you disrespectful when the lady's saying hi to you, or are you like gonna be respectful? And you know what I'm saying? So
And that's a good point because,
yeah,
like, I remember I saw on TikTok, like, when people are, like, rude to, like, the waiters and waitresses and stuff. And it's like, let's be
right,
nice. Let's be nice. When
exactly. Like,
people, like, actually, like, look out for that stuff when they're dating because, like, it can be very telling for
mm-hmm,
the future of the relationship. So I definitely get that. And, like, I like how you said that, that perspective of seeing how you interact with others because that's important.
absolutely. Um, yeah, I was gonna say something else. What was I gonna say? Um, but yeah, most of the communication I do is like through text before we meet. So yeah, but yeah, just seeing how you operate in social environments because I can't have a severely introverted individual because I'm
Mm.
already kind of introverted, but like I can speak up. Like I'm not gonna like So I just need somebody who like matches my energy and my vibe. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, like just come out of the shell a little bit. Let's converse. Let's get to the bottom of why we're both here and what we mutually want from this relationship. And let's just see where it goes.
All right. Absolutely. Well, that concludes this episode. Don't forget to comment down in the comments below any topics you want us to talk about or any questions that you all may have. Again, you can contact us on our social media. We have TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all of that jazz. Um, and yeah, so make sure to follow us as well.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode. As I said, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and we will see you all next time for episode number 4.